evening and welcome to another episode of Life is People. And well, it's been a long time in coming tonight, but I'm well excited to have a guest on tonight, which is, I don't actually know how to pronounce your name. Is it TreHeem?
Yeah, it's Rebel TreHeem.
TreHeem, man. You know what I mean? That's the old communication problems between English and American, eh? TreHeem. Well, how you doing tonight, my man? Anyway, you're right.
Oh, one more time.
I say you okay, man? You had a good day.
Oh yeah, man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. We have I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. So basically, right now we have I'm gonna be in competition with like five other artists to get a spot on the radio after after perform in front of 97.9, and whoever does the best out of the five people that's performing, they're getting their song played on the radio. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on the next hit to come out with to win the spot and take over, trying to put Dallas on the map basically. But after that, we're October 8th, we're going out to California to launch our clothing line, and we're going to be out there from October 8th through the 11th. And in Cali, we're meeting up with a couple local artists to do work down there too. So about to be pretty busy in the next few months.
Cool, man. Well, this kind of like kind of. I mean, it's a great kind of overview where you are now. So let's sort of go into it. I mean, I kind of like did a bit of kind of research on your, the web page and stuff like. And you're from Shreveport, Louisiana, yeah. So how did you end up in
Yes.
Texas? How did that story happen, man?
Basically, we moved to Texas because we lived in a very bad neighborhood. So I mean, it wasn't safe for any of us really. So my parents made the right decision and moved us out here. I mean, our people were stealing my dogs, breaking in my house every other day and shit, man. Shit was just crazy.
Man, that
But I'm
sounds.
glad.
Go on, I might understand. That sounds rough, man. So what age did you move from there to where you are now?
I moved when I was like 10. Yeah, when I was like 10, I moved to Texas. We moved actually to Corinth when I was 10, and I've been here ever since, man.
Man, so I mean, man, that's kind of like I don't. I kind of. It almost seems unreal to pick pass that up, man. I mean, there's not many people. That must have really shaped your kind of early experiences and seeing having your dogs sort of like taken from you, man. I mean, I've had a few dogs and I've had a few of them taken from me, man, and it shaped me as an adult. So I can't imagine what it did to you as a child, man.
Exactly, yeah, that traumatized me, honestly. I saw a lot of shit, but hey, you live and you learn.
Man,
That was the past.
yeah, man. Do you think that I mean, that's what I'm trying to say, man? Because it's an interesting perspective where we are in the world right now. Is that we've all got this ability to communicate, and obviously, you know, I've never really been to any kind of experience that you're talking about. So it's kind of, the question I'm always fascinated when I ask to talk to like someone like yourself would be, I mean, do you think much has changed in the time? I know you're young yourself, but do you think much has changed in the something like last 10 years?
In the last 10 years,
Yeah.
um, actually, do you mean like for the better or worse?
Well, just generally, I mean, you're talking about, like you say, you were just mentioning about your experience of like growing up and what that was like. I mean, do you think if you went back to that place now and you were 10 years younger, do you think it would be the same environment to grow up in, or do you think it hasn't really changed or it's got worse?
I believe it's probably still the exact same as it was, or probably worse. If you're talking about society as a whole, society now is definitely a lot worse than it was 10 years ago. Like if you look at Chicago, I mean, people killing cops in Chicago, cops killing people everywhere, Baltimore, everywhere. Um, the police system just beating random people for no reason, shooting people without weapons. Like everything's chaotic, man.
That's what I'm saying. You mentioned that then. I mean, again, this is a reflection. It's really weird to view all this across the pond, man. Because obviously, I have reflections. I kind of know what it's like to live in a in a state, I suppose, over here in the UK where we're watched all the time, and there's a lot of surveillance going on. But I can't equate to like the experience of like every day what it's like in your part of the world, because we hear enough about guys being, like you said, shot on the streets. I mean, you said an interesting point, and you said guys are being shot on the street for no reason. Do you think the reason that these cop I said coppers in, but the reason that the police are doing this, do you think it's driven from what, racism, or do you think it's just driven from the job itself, or what do you think drives that kind of?
It's definitely driven for racism. And have you ever seen NWA or Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen the film yet, but I've heard good things.
You have to watch it. It's basically the same. The same thing that was going on back then is going on now. They're still beating people. It's still racist, and all the black cops are trying to please the Caucasian cops, and they're being harder on the black people than the white cops are in some cases. And some of them are cool. All cops aren't bad, but they do have a lot of bad cops out there. Like in New Orleans, we stayed out in New Orleans for a little while, and whenever I stayed in New Orleans, cops were just putting weed on people. Cops were selling drugs to people. Like if you think about it, I mean, like all these drugs and stuff, like I think it's a setup, honestly, because we don't bring drugs over here. Like the people don't bring, we can't get drugs over here from across seas. So how are they going to get over here? The cops.
Yeah, man. Well, man, that goes way back, man. I mean, that's. I mean, I've had experience of living in South America, man, and I can tell you that's the truth. That's exactly what it is, man. I mean, the idea that this is. I know there are criminal elements, in the sense what they call criminal elements, that are doing very, man. I don't know if you've ever seen the submarines they got going on in Colombia, man. They've got guys in the jungle building submarines to get the coke out. But on the other hand, man, all this is like you say, it's all known, man. The police know what, the people in control. They know what's coming in, how much is coming in. Man, it's even the Wire tackled that, man. The idea that the police are sending stuff directly to people on the streets, man. I mean, this like you say, that is an age-old known thing. I mean, I think that, I said this a few times in this podcast, man. I think we're going to look back in the future, and they're going to look back as in a really barbaric set of times that we're in now, and I think they'll look back at it and think, man, prohibition of alcohol lasted what, 10, 15 years in America? And how long's the prohibition? How long's this ridiculous war on drugs gone on, man? I mean, how long's that now? 30, 40 years?
Yeah, and exactly. And if you think about it, yeah, it's been going on forever. And like I said, it's been going on since you were a baby, probably since my parents were babies. Like, I think it all started after Vietnam, right? All the drugs and stuff.
No, man, the man, like, it's even more sinister than that, man. I don't know if you know this, but anyone kind of like potted history of kind of, as it used to be. This is how sinister it gets. It was always known as cannabis, which is, one name for that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and that's right. And then in the and that used to supply everything. It used to supply, materials and everything like this. And what happened was the oil industry back in the 30s and the 20s, they were sort of seeing a lot of their profits and thinking, how can we make a lot more money? And they knew that the plastics were coming along. So they started to pass through Congress. And what they originally did was they just made it illegal to own marijuana. And then after that, they spent about 10 years basically changing cannabis to marijuana. And then they started, as you know, man, and they started linking it to, it's all to do with these jazz players and these blues players. And it's going to, well, man, it's even more. We talk about racism, man. They used to say back in the day, it was because it made black guys horny for white girls. So we can't have this stuff. We can't have interbreeding, and man, and then that's where it all started. And then, like you say, it just progressively came on, and then you had all them stupid films in the 50s about what, this is your brain on drugs and stuff. And look at where we are now, man. And do you know the worst thing about this is, and I think that's what I'm saying, it's gone on for a long, long time. And it should always just be down to freedom of choice. I mean, man, if it's not harming you, what if it's not harming me, what do I care? That's the priority number one.
Exactly.
But the worst thing is, man, this is what kind of really annoys me about a lot of the industry at the moment and hip hop and stuff like this, is how many, particularly, man, we're let's be real about this. We're talking on race, man. How many black guys are in prison over this, man? I mean, I was reading a stat the other day. There's more black guys. There's more black guys.
I don't know if you.
Go on.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Bobby Shmurda.
Go on, man.
Do you know who I'm talking about, Bobby Shmurda?
No, tell me about him, man.
It's a rapper out of New York. He came out with one hit song, and basically, I guess he got caught with a bunch of drugs. He's like 17, 18 years old. But he got caught with a bunch of drugs and guns and stuff, and they gave him a life sentence. Life sentence. Yeah. He's a kid, and they gave him a life sentence for one mistake that he did.
Man, that's what I'm saying. How barbaric is that, man? They're throwing a human being in a cage for the rest of his life.
For the rest of their life. For one thing.
And that actually means rest of your life in America, because sometimes over here, life in prison means like 20 years. But in America, it's life, isn't it? You're dying in prison, man, aren't you? You're dying in that cage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, that's the point.
It is.
And
unless you have good lawyers, millions of dollars, then you're good. But for the most part, especially if you black, if you getting life in jail, you're getting life in jail.
Well, man, yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. I mean, I was reading a stat the other day that there's more black guys in jail now than there was ever amount of black people in slavery in the whole of the time that was slavery. And that's, the worst sinister thing is, man, and it's looking across the Atlantic to you, and it's like, I hope they're trying to push for it over here, and it's going to come eventually, but I think the most sinister thing about your country is the fact that you've got private prisons. So basically you've got guys who are, prison officers who are in a union, who are basically going to Congress, and basically it's all in everybody's interest just to keep this whole machine, this complex of putting people in cages just going and going and going. And the fact that it's private and people are making money out of it means it's never going to stop unless let's have fundamental change in society. And that's, I suppose that's where people like yourself come in, man, because you're the voice. I mean, that's the voice, the vanguard of what you're trying to change, really. I mean, I'd imagine that's what your aim of what you're trying to do is just to break people through and make them aware of what's really going on.
Exactly. Yeah. The voice of the youth, really. That's what I'm trying to do.
Does it frustrate you? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Because I mean, it frustrates me, but I'm a bit older, kind of like, down the line a bit. I mean, does it frustrate you to, when you hear the amount of I was going to say the real shitty music that's put out there at the moment? You know what I mean? All the Taylor Swift and that, and you think, man, what is this distraction with what's really going on? Does that frustrate you, or do you sort of look around? Go on.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating. I mean, I agree with you. It is a distraction on what's really going on. I think I'm gonna get a little bit deeper. I think everything is a distraction from what's going on. I think TV is a distraction from what's really going on. Music, certain type of music, like all that Taylor Swift and all that, where they're getting away from what's really happening, like every day, like what people are doing, like. You still here?
Yeah, go on.
All right, I'd rather listen to Future, where he's talking about what's really going on, than listen to Taylor Swift when she's talking about just like some random stuff and dancing and partying. Because at least you can learn about if you listen to rap, you can learn about what's really, even if you're not from the streets, you can learn about what's going on, you know? And like I was saying, what what um what what they're blinding you from, I don't think on the media, on TV, I don't think they give you 100% of what's really happening. Like all the explosions, plane crashes, 9/11, George Bush. I think all that stuff. I don't think they exactly let you know exactly what's going on. They just sugarcoat. That's what I think. So it's crazy, man.
Man, that's the thing, man. I mean, if you want to get really, get really real on this stuff, I mean, they call it news, and it's all a show. This the whole thing's a show. The whole thing is just, like you said, just to keep people distracted from them, from really waking up and seeing what's around. Because it's all the time that people are focused on, some guys with suits on chopping people's heads off, or they're bothered about, like you say, explosions, and then they're not going to look around them and go, wait a minute, I'm in slavery, man. Literally, I'm enslaved by the system around me. I'm enslaved as a human. That's what I'm saying. That's the real distraction, and that
Yeah,
shit.
if you think about it, yeah, we really are. If you really think about it, we are enslaved. It's kind of crazy. I've been thinking this for a very long time. Continue. What were you saying?
No, man. I mean, that's the point. I mean, the real baseline of all slavery is, and this is the point, man. I mean, I can't say I'm a bit older and a bit kind of down the path from this one, and I I know what the thing that keeps all us enslaved is money. That's what keeps us enslaved, man. And people don't understand about what money is. People just think it's just, all just bits of paper given around, man. The whole thing's a joke. That's why I say to people all the time, go and research about what money
Yeah,
is.
people are killing each other over money. People are selling their souls for money. People do anything for money. If you think about it, money is power. That little piece of paper.
Exactly, man.
But
And
I think, we could probably run without money. They just probably put that there to probably create like friction between everybody. Who knows?
yeah, man. I mean, that was kind of the root of all of where it was, because humans have always traded between stuff, man. You know what I mean? We did it as kids. We all kind of like, I've got a set of Pokemon stickers, and you got, we all traded. That's part of human nature, because we don't like to have, we like to share ideas and goods and stuff like that. But man, the real thing that they did with money was when basically it became bankers, and then they wrote it out to the government, and the government just did IOU, 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 and just printed out more and more and more of it. And now we're all caught in it, because we're all basically, man, as you know, we're all born into debt, every single one of us, and that's the real slavery. That doesn't matter what you do, you're born into debt, man. You're paying off a debt for somebody that has been spent this money, man, a long time before I was born, a long time before you were born. All that money was spent, and like, how much more are they spending? Like we used to say, man, how much they spending per
Yeah,
year? How much they spending per year on the military? How much are they spending every year on the prison complex, man? Let alone all the police, how much billions is being spent, man? And that's what keeps us enslaved. That's the real slavery, man. But like you say, all the time we've got Taylor Swift, and we've got X Factor, and we've got, America's Got Talent, and we've got, the latest, I don't
American
know.
Idol.
Yeah, exactly. In the latest Transformers film, man. That's all that's important. Hey, let's just keep this, let's keep the masses distracted, man. That's the real shit.
That's true. Yeah, man. I used to talk to my friends about stuff like that, man. Like, honestly, I don't know if you're into this too much, but like all that Illuminati stuff, I don't know if you know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you know Easy E. Do you know who Easy E is?
Never heard of Easy.
NWA. Well,
Okay.
everybody else knows what I'm talking about. I'm gonna explain a little bit about Easy E. All right, so Easy E got sick. They went on a this is what I watched on a documentary. And I guess he didn't obey with what, like, the world order or whatever the Illuminati goes by.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to, like, he did a show in another state, and the weather changed, so he got sick because of the weather change, came back, and basically he went to the hospital, and when he went to the hospital, they injected him with AIDS. Like, they got AIDS from somebody else and injected him with them, and he died. It's crazy. And another thing, I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, go on.
All right, Michael Jackson. So basically, Michael Jackson was as you know, Michael Jackson died, and I believe the reason for that is the Illuminati. So basically, Michael Jackson kind of put them out there on a show he did, and he was just talking about them. He was talking about, I forgot exactly what they were talking about, but he was just like saying little bits and pieces, and then they kept on asking him about it, and he was like, I can't say anymore. They're gonna kill me. That's exactly what he said. And look where he's at now. He's dead. It's crazy. The Illuminati is really getting people.
Yeah, man. I think the question that leads from that is, and I mean, I think it's always a question to ask. Is like, why? What is it? What is it? I've spent a long time in my life. I question this because it's like you say, we can all arrows point to the same way. You realize there's people at the top of any system, whether it's a corporation, a government, or anything. There's always that one person at the top. And it's the same common thing, man. And yeah, again, chip in if you think I'm way offline on this. But these people, the one thing they all have in common is they've all got wealth beyond belief. So that they're financially
Yeah.
sorted. They've all obviously power hungry, each and every single one of them. But beyond that, even if they get power, you think then it starts to get really difficult. You have to really ask the difficult questions. Of like, okay, so you've got all the money, you've got you become powerful, to the top of what you are. What is it then that drives you to, like you said, to knowingly go out and wipe other human beings off this planet? There's a sickness there, man. There's a deep rooted sickness. Now, whether that's just come from their childhood and that's just risen, or maybe it's a momentum of history. Maybe it just lingers and lingers, and there is just an old part of history that's
Yeah.
just I don't know
Something
what
that
it
we
is,
don't know
man.
anything about.
But you see this in common, man, because it's almost like, again, it's one of the distractions to think, oh well, if someone from one particular set of party comes through, then that's going to be all right. But if the other side, no, man, I've seen these people, these beasts rise in every form, where all around the world, and I think, what is it they've got in common? It's a difficult question, man, but I think it's something that it's people like us that are left asking this, man, because everyone else doesn't seem to give a shit about these certain kind of questions. It's just the thinkers and the poets and the artists who are asking these questions, man.
Yeah. Um. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
No worries, man.
Camera's messing up. Can you still see me?
Yeah, man.
All right. So what was the root of your question again?
No, my question was basically, what do you think drives these people, man? I mean, after they've got all the money and all the power, what is it that they still want to go out and hurt harming human beings?
See,
What do you think the drive
it's
is?
it's not about that. See, it's much deeper than just. I don't know if you're with me on this, but it's much deep. It's deeper than just money and power. The root behind this is evil.
Hmm.
It's evil. It's they don't. The devil's trying to build up his army, so they're trying to get people to sell their souls for fame. And if you don't cooperate, that's when a problem comes in. See, basically, I was watching this video. They said they give you a certain amount of time to live. Basically, they give you heaven on earth, and then you sell your soul to the devil, right?
Hmm.
And they give you a certain amount of time to live. If you think about it, um, let's see, Michael Jackson, Eazy-E, who else died? Whitney Houston, Pimp C, um, a bunch of people. And it's mysterious the way they died, though. Like it's not. It's just weird. Like they could have went out any other way. Paul Walker, I don't trust that. You know who Paul Walker is?
Is he the guy whose car crashed
Yeah,
into the tree? Yeah.
yeah. All of it's mysterious, man. But like I was saying, all this it's deeper than just. I can't get into it too much because I don't want to say too much over line. But it's just deeper than money, man, and power.
Hmm. It is, man, and I mean that's what I'm saying. It's the old adage in the It's an old Bible parable, isn't it? Is that the road to hell is wide, and it leads a lot of people astray, man. And like, whether you want to take the metaphysical out of it, we're not going to get into that discussion. But it's a very good parable for life, man. So many people in this life are just distracted, and they just march straight down to down paths that they should never go down, man. And it's like it seems. As much as the human spirit and I'm really am on team people, because I think that team people has got us to this point now where we're in this conversation. Whereas even in my lifetime, man, I've gone from being, I've seen things change a lot in my lifetime. So and I think innovation helps. I think technology helps. But man, there's a lot of part of this team people that have got that. Like we keep saying, man, I've got that old school mentality. And they, like you say, just don't want to shake that way of thinking. And in fact, you see a lot of the mistakes is being carried on over and over again. I mean, swap Taylor Swift from Madonna, man. That's my generation. Go back to the 60s, and it was the same then, man. It's this continuum momentum of human condition, and all we can hope to do is shift it. And then the question comes of how do we shift it, man? This is where we are, aren't we? We are the outsiders. We're the shapers of society in that sense. We are the right now we're forgotten about, but we're the people that are trying to knock away at the edges. And it's what can we do as the creative people to shift that? I don't know, to shift that paradigm. I mean, what do you think the answer? Go on.
I don't think we could do anything about it, man. Honestly, I don't think we have any power in this situation, like at all. I mean, I know it sounds. I mean, we have two different point of views, but I'm just saying from my point of view, I don't think we have. I don't think we can control stuff like that. So.
But we can all control our own mind, though, isn't it? That's the one thing I think we can, that we as the creative people can say to people is, look, don't let anybody control your mind. Think for yourself. That's all we can do, because if we can't control our own minds, man, then the rest of it, exactly. I think all of us are basic. My general thinking on life is, if I'm not harming you, you're not harming me, I don't give a toss. I don't think beyond that, I think things start to fall down. I think when you see groups rise and all this stuff, it's like, it doesn't really matter. All it matters is that we all keep our own minds, because that to me is the only thing we can all do. If we don't have our own minds, then we truly are lost as a human species. And I just hope
you're right.
That's all I hope we can do. That's all I strive for. It's just to hope that I can keep my mind free and hopefully point to other people to areas and other people that are like-minded, and say to them, look, go to those people, and hopefully for the process of listening to their music and watching their films, that you'll realize that you have got your own mind, and then you've got the ability to unleash your human potential, which is what scares them the most. That's why they try to keep us down, man.
I agree.
They do not want us.
You're saying.
I think the two things they're most fearful of, man, is, and I think it's been throughout history, has been, they're fearful of the human being waking up and being able to realize his own potential, and then for those like-minded people to meet up and go, we're not going to be taking part in your system anymore. And I think that's why they've done all these distractions. That's why they send war. That's why they send countless thousands of us men out onto battlefields to go and be,
to fight for nothing.
For nothing, man. For nothing. Exactly. For nothing. And you know what I mean?
Nothing. For oil that and the United States we're bullies.
Mm-hmm.
Like we go out and pick on other countries for literally no reason. Like oil, we basically steal stuff from them. They send soldiers out. They're acting like they're giving people jobs. Everybody wants to go into the military because of the simple fact you get free college. You get benefits, you get retirement. Okay, they make everything sound real good, but what are you fighting for?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know what you're fighting for. The person they're just going for the benefits, right? Pretty much.
Exactly, man.
So
no, man. I mean, this is. I mean, that's. We go back to exactly where we started this conversation. It's one of the things that I try to remain positive, and I try to, I think that's the only way to be in life is be positive yourself. But I can't believe I'm living in 2015, and I've seen the Gulf War Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and here we are in 2015, and you know it's still continuing. I just think it's hilarious. And
I'm sorry.
he's gone.
What were you saying? Keep going.
No, I was just saying, you know, I think it's hilarious that you know, in 2015, I've seen the Gulf War Part One, I saw the Gulf War Part Two, and now we're supposed to be afraid of some guys running around the desert who are chopping off people's heads. And every time, it's always the threat is worse and worse and worse. Man, I'm old enough to remember, man, and this is one of the things that I suppose separates my generation from your generation, man. When I grew up, there was a real threat of nuclear warfare, as in we could all die, and you know. And now, when I sort of think, man, they're getting people distracted with all the fear about, like you say, going and fighting wars, and none of it is important. And absolutely, even the argument about oil, isn't it? It doesn't even sell to the masses anymore. I mean, man, what was it? Was it last couple of years ago when? You know, your president stood up and he tried to, you know, sell that bullshit over Syria, and the people just turned around and went, nah, we ain't falling for that crap anymore, man. You're not marching us to any more wars. And what can he do, man? This is the thing. There's nothing ultimate that they can do about that. They can't force you to go out unless they do at gunpoint to go out and march their wars. That's the power we've got, man.
That's true.
But it's like it's trying to go on.
Oh no, continue.
No, I was going to say, man, I think this is where the push, like you were saying, I think the push where we can make is, so instead of the life, like you just said then, instead of the life of the military being seen as a good life because it's got benefits, you know, it should be the rewarded people should be people like yourselves, man, the photographers, the artists, the musicians. We should be the ones that people go, oh, I mean, I always look at it this way around, man. You know, it's all right. The culture we've got right now, it's like, it shouldn't be desirable for you know, an opposite sex, for all the, you know, it's the way, let's be real, man, we're two men, for all the women out there to think someone in the military is a good catch of a human being. It should be, no, I want to go, you know, it's like the old Bill Hicks joke, man. Go and fight, ladies, you want to be happy, go and find an artist, go and find a musician, someone who's good with their fingers, you know, someone who, that should be the pinnacle, not these military thugs, man. And that's what we can shape. Because it's, if we get these, that's why I want to look, man. I want to see a world in 10 years' time where people like yourself are like, you're the pinnacle, man. You're the role model for that next generation. Not that you should be a role model. I don't want you to be a role model, but I'd rather kids be looking up to you and going, oh man, I'd rather be like Rebel TreHeem than there would be some military thug who's like, you know, yes, boss, no, you know.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with you, man. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be a voice for the youth right now. So that's basically my mission.
Well, man, on the back of that, and we kind of fell away into this discussion. We haven't really sort of mentioned it. I mean, you know, it's a sort of, I'm absolutely fascinated, and one of the things I see in common right now is I see a lot of networks all around the world all connected, and I think hip hop is a huge force for this, because as it was back in the day, man, we spoke about NWA, man, hip hop changed the generation. I don't care what anybody says, it changed.
Yeah, I can tell you how it changed. You said it changed your generation?
Oh man, it changed me, man. Do you know what I mean? Before that moment, I'd never heard anything like it. I would have never, as a white guy growing up in England, ever heard of what it's like to grow up in the streets of New York. And then I was listening to like Scarface and Big L and, you know, Wu-Tang and all this. I'm like, whoa. This, and do you know the thing was, my man? Every single word they meant, I was like, do you know what? You're thinking just like I am. And that was the wake up moment of my generation, man. So yeah, hip hop can change the world for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's very true, because hip hop is basically stories. It's stories on people's lives. It's just informing people, and it's trend setting too. So that could be a way that it changed the world. It's just trend setting. And this is getting a little off topic, but if you notice, hip hop is changing like attire too these days. Like back in the, like, let's just say like back in your time, whenever they would make it like Compton, NWA, and all that, like Master P, everybody used to wear like big baggy clothes. These days, this generation, we like more of like a tight fit, like long shirts, like a tall tee, or like just a regular shirt like this, like a nice button up with some tight pants and some Vans or something, you know, with a Supreme hat, Supreme and Stussy. that's the newer trend these days.
Well, man, talking about the sort of like clothing and stuff like that, it was something I won't just definitely talk to you raising this podcast was the looking through your Rebellious Society website, man. There's some great pictures in the apparel section, and I don't know which one of the crew is because it's hard to sort of tell by the photos. But one of you is wearing the old Asian sort of like the pointy chino hats, the colonial hats, man. Now,
That's me.
man, oh man, like, tell me more about that, man. I have to ask, like, where did you get it, and is that something you're going to go on?
Basically, I have a feeling that that's gonna blow up one day. Who knows? It might. I don't care if it does. I'm not trying to like get everybody wearing it, but that's just what I like. I like to bring in new fashion. That's what I'm a fashion designer, fashion artist, fashion model. So I'm trying to bring in new fashion to this part of America, trying to start some new stuff. So basically, yeah, that's what that is, man. It's just like it's different. Nobody has it. Nobody has a Chinese like sun hat, so I had to pull it off.
No,
And
man.
everybody liked it too. I got a lot of attention from it. Everybody liked it. Everybody was asking where to order them from. So I think actually we're going to Cali to launch our clothing line. We might get a shipment. Like we might actually start selling those too. Who knows?
Yeah, man. I reckon you should, man, because I think I mean I got no kind of I don't want to sort of voice my opinion on fashion because I'm not that's not my area of speciality at all. But man, I've always thought those hats are wicked, man. I've always thought why don't I've always thought it's kind of like man they'd be a perfect solution because they are. I'm not. I don't want to sort of sound really kind of like blokey about it, but they are very practical. They cover you in sun, and when the water comes, man, it's perfect. I think I
It's
mean, man.
perfect.
Well, man, I tell you what, if that shit rocks the world, man, we know where it's all started, man. Like, we know where it all started,
Exactly.
man.
Right here. But yeah, man, Rebellious Society, we moving up, man. We're
So
moving
I mean,
up.
that's what
We
I'm saying.
started from ground zero.
That's what I mean. So I mean, I was going to say, man. So how did the whole rebellious sort of society come about, man? What's the sort of story behind it?
Basically, I mean, I've been rapping since I was little. I like fashion. I did some fashion modeling when I was little for Debutante University. I did some fashion modeling for them in Dallas. So basically, I just met up with these two dudes, Adrian and Jordan, and we had the same goals. We wanted to be fashion models. Jordan was the photographer, so that actually fit the description perfectly because we could have a photographer on the group, and then we have two fashion models, and we both are fashion models slash artists. So we rap and do fashion modeling, you know. And we're also designers. We design clothes, so we're men of many trades. So basically, yeah, we met up. We grouped together. We hung out all the time. So people just start like calling us a group automatically because we hung out so much, and we all dressed really nice. So they automatically suspected we were a group, and this was before we even were a group. So basically, we just named ourselves Rebellious Society, and that name came from us, like what we just talked about, rebellious against that,
Hmm.
rebellious against police brutality, rebellious against the government, rebellious against some laws, marijuana laws, alcohol laws, rebellious against a lot of things. So we just thought about it, and we were like rebellious society because we don't totally agree with the society's ruling. So that's how the name rebellious society came along.
So man, you mentioned then you kind of like you've been sort of like interested in sort of like designing clothes and stuff. Does that go way back? I mean, is that something you were doing when you were a child?
Actually, yes, I would design clothes when I was a child. It wasn't designing clothes, but it was just like being different. Like I didn't in middle school I didn't dress, and like elementary I didn't dress like other kids. Even high school I didn't dress like everybody else. Everybody thought I dressed weird. Thought I was weird. But it's kind of funny now because all the people who thought I dressed weird back in the day are now all blowing me up, asking me where I get my clothes from. I like the way you dress now, bro. I like this. I like that. But I wore the same thing back then, but you thought it was weird. So I don't know, man. Like my personal advice would be to be yourself no matter what anybody thinks about you.
Yeah.
Just glow up, be yourself, and keep pushing, 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 pushing. That's how you make it. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, man. So I mean, you know, like I say, from the, you know, just sort of looking at it from afar, you seem quite a sort of a tight knit group of guys, you know, sort of team, because there's a lot of crossovers as well. I mean, you know, I mean, if you go onto YouTube, you can see the Say No More video, man, which is, again, it's just that you're all sort of like cooperating and you know, helping each other out, man. I mean, tell me about that video, man. I mean, what was the sort of story behind that? Because it's, for people who are not watching, I want everybody to go out there and watch that video, because it's oh man, it's like, well, until we hear the story, but I was just blown away by it, man. I was like, you're taking visuals to another level in the sense of that video, man. Because I personally, I just give you my experience. It was like, man, you gave a real menacing appearance just from that video. You're like, man, it was really menacing. You know what I mean? It was, and you know, it was, that was just my impression. It was a real menacing feel to it. So, again, man, tell me more about that sort of like whole process of how how comes together and how you work with the rest of the team with making videos and stuff, and particularly about that song.
Basically, Say No More. See, it all came together perfectly. Like, we just added a new member to the to Rebellious Society who has a studio, like his own facility. So it's now our facility, but whatever we make off the song, he gets 20% of it. So now we have our own facility, we have our own studio, we have our own cameraman, we have our own clothing line, everything's website, everything's going good. But Say No More video shoot, basically, we were sitting in the room, and we were actually in the studio, and I forgot what Adrian asked me to do something, I think, and I said, "Say no more." And then I was like, I thought about it. I was like, "Say no more, say no more, say no more." Hold up, that's a song. And I was like, we could use that as like a chant. Next thing you know, we just dropped it, man. Dropped the music video, Say No More. Had everybody saying it.
So when you shot that video, man, I mean, you watch it and you can see it must have been shot in public place, because you can see the cars going behind some of the shoot. So you're not in the middle of a field anywhere. Was that shot round where you were? Again, and the question has to be asked: did you have any kind of trouble shooting that videos? Because I don't want to give well, no, it's not a spoiler alert, man. You're out there wielding swords, for Christ's sake, man. I mean, you must have had some blowback, and surely you must have had somebody sort of stop over or ring Babylon and say, hey, there's some black guys out there with swords wielding it on the street.
I kind of wanted that to happen. I kind of wanted just a little bit. I kind of wanted that to happen because I wanted to get some crazy stuff on camera. But nah, man, we were just having fun, honestly. We just basically Adrian's like, he's into like martial arts, so he has a lot of swords and stuff. And a lot of people like talk about shooting people and pulling guns on people and stuff like that, robbing people. Honestly, I'd rather not use a gun. I'd rather use a sword.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only for some self-defense. I don't go out like just picking on people, just like robbing people. I'm not that type of person. I'm cool with everybody. But if you do cross the line, then, you know, say no more.
Man, have you ever seen the Ghost Dog, the film?
I don't think so.
Man, Razza did all the tunes and the lyrics for it, man, and it's got Forrest Whitaker in it. mate. It's the same sort of thing. He's kind of like an assassin for the mafia, but instead of having a gun, he does everything with swords, man. And like you say, man, you can have your guns and all that, man. But like you say, the one I fear most is a guy wielding a sword at me, man. I mean, that do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Because if you think about it, swords are painful. You're gonna go out. It's not gonna be pretty. So, I mean, I'd rather honestly get shot by a gun than hit by a sword. So that's my preferred weapon is a sword.
Well, man, I mean,
I'm getting good at it too.
Nice, man. I mean, it's one of the things I don't know if you know this one. I think it's I don't know how based it is in actual fact, but you know, as far as I understand it, it was that if you were in a fight between a gun and a knife or a sword, you got more chance of winning with a sword because he's got to hit you first time, and you've got to be running, and that he's got to be doing dom dom. So by the time you get to him, you're gonna win. So they actually say between a gun and the sword, the actual better weapon to have in a gunfight is a sword. So man, I think
and if you actually get good enough with the sword, you can counter every bullet that's shot and just get them. Or if you know how to throw knives or throw knives or throw swords, you don't have anything to worry about because you can see when somebody's hand's about to flinch and pull the trigger, and you can just they're gone, just like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like I mean, the power of that has always got to be. I mean, it's one of the things that's fascinated me for years, man. Has been the samurai culture, and the man, I mean, the power, their weapons, man. I mean, the power of one metal blade and what it could chop through. It's just it's mind blowing, really, when you think about it.
And yeah, I'm glad you said that because if you look at the way I dressed, if you go on my Twitter and look at the way I dress, we have a kind of a Chinese look. The hat, the long shirts with the swords, that's kind of the look we want to bring out. It's like a more Chinese look, you know. It's different attire, and I mean, people are actually starting to fall in with it.
Man, that's one of the things. I mean, it's interesting, especially to you who sort of like works in the clothing industry. But man, again, when I was, it's been a fascination of mine for a long time. It's been martial arts, and I'd always thought it's only basically the confines of the general society, which is all of us. It's our own minds. But man, I think the perfect walking around clothes for a man, I can only speak as a man, would be the literally just walking around with that loose kind of the jacket and the trousers looking like a samurai, man. It's a perfect comfortable crap rather than these, like you say, all these tight fitting clothes and belts and you know what I mean. It's only, I don't know what it is because you think it's just, I think so, like you say, I'm surprised no one's ever brought that shit back, trying to push that shit in the fashion industry.
Exactly.
I'm surprised it's never been done, man.
That's true.
But then that's why you're the first, my friend. That's why, you know what I mean. That's it's even more of an open market. The fact that no one's done it means it's all good. It's all good and good, isn't it, man? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean, man.
So, man, you kind of you were you're obviously talking about rebellious society and stuff like that, and I kind of wanted to sort of like talk to you about this, and I think it's a really kind of especially because you're working in a team. It's kind of I wanted to talk to you about kind of what is your main aim, man? Because I kind of got a few thoughts on it because it's kind of like you in
What is
life.
our aim?
Yeah, because it's kind of like in life, we've got you have to define your success, you have to define your success. Do you know what I mean? So it's what do you want to get out of it, man? What do you want to get out of rebellious society?
Rebellious society. Basically, I want our name to be publicized. I want everybody to. I want to change people's lives. I want to for the better, honestly. Um, Basically my goal in life is to motivate people, to show everybody that I can do it, you can do it, for people to see, because honestly, growing up I wasn't even a lot. But I wanted to like show people that if you push something, if you put your mind to it and push it, then you could be just like me. Do the same thing. And our goal, our message is basically to like it's change. That's our message. We're trying to change a lot of things. And once I get up and have a lot of money, then a lot of things are going to change. And I'm not going to talk about that on the podcast, but y'all will see it whenever it happens, you know.
No, man, I think that's exactly the mindset to have. You know what I mean? Like you say, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't know, that's why I asked that question, because I think it's a deeper question than saying, you know, is it money that's the drive? Is it fame? Is it social upheaval? You know, it's kind of getting that mindset to a lot of people, and even yourself, man. It's kind of like to work out what your focus is, because it's like you said, it's anybody can do this, and it's why the question more is like why, you know, which we discussed and we kind of discussed, you know, we talked about it, is why aren't people doing that, man? What is it that separates someone like yourself to be driven to, you know, to join Rebellious Society, start doing your own clothes and stuff like that, and like you say, you know, people around you. What is the difference, man? And what do you think the steps, you know, that people can do to sort of move away from that mindset?
To what is the goal to do what?
No, I'm saying, man. You mentioned you talk about your goal was all that. I mean, you talk about the basis is to say to people, you know, you could, if you trust in yourself and believe in yourself, you can become whatever. But what I'm saying is how it's driven you to the point where you are now. But you, like I say, obviously, you know, the people around you in your circles or the wider circle who aren't on that mindset. So, what is it that you can hope to make, you know, well, put it this way, what would you say to yourself if you were a 10-year-old boy? What would you say to yourself to go, well, look, you know what I mean, it's all right, because you know what it's like, man. If you're, you know, if you're anything like me, if someone came to you even at your age and said, hey, do you know what it's all about? It's just to believe in yourself. You're like, whatever, man. I need some guidance. I need some steps to follow. So do you know what I mean? So what would you say to yourself,
Basically,
man?
I'd say if I was talking to a 10-year-old boy, I'd tell him to be original because
Mm-hmm.
originality is everything. Nobody wants basicness. I mean, I wouldn't tell that to a 10-year-old boy, but I'm just summarizing, you know. So nobody wants people who basically imitate in the industry. Like they want originality. Be yourself. Don't don't do anything that's gonna ruin your life, but don't follow crowds. Be a leader. Um, Basically, don't try to do something. Don't try to be somewhere you're not for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Just be yourself. Um, Shit, man. Just and whatever you just if you have a goal, set your goal while you're young. And if you have a goal, just keep on going for it until you reach it, until you grab it. Just keep on looking up at the stars until you just grab one.
No, see, you mentioned, you know, just you're saying you obviously don't want to sort of like, you know, again, I wouldn't expect you to. I wouldn't expect you to reveal in this podcast what your ultimate goal is. But what do you think the steps are to getting you there, man? And again, if you know, this is where we kind
The
of see.
steps to getting me there.
Yep.
The steps to getting me there, man. Work,
Mm.
work, and dedication. You got to dedicate yourself 100%. See, I have a job. I'm also in college, and I'm also like doing this too. So I have fallback plans, but I really don't need the fallback plans because this is actually like turning into a reality. Like we're doing things that we've been dreaming about, like going do shows in different cities, stuff like that. And basically, man, you can't just get it being lazy. You can't, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to have an organization. You have to have a foundation to build on. You have to you have to come from something. You know, like you can't just come up out of nowhere. So you have to basically you have to have the right mindset, a business like mindset. You have to have a team. if you don't have a team, you have to have money, because you have to have studio time, you have to have a photographer, you have to have this, that, and that. So basically, if I were me giving advice to anybody out there, just build on a foundation, set your foundation. Just keep on building up on it until you reach until you see progress, until you see you're actually completing something. And once you see progress, that's gonna prompt you to keep on going. You know, it's gonna propel you to keep on going, because you're gonna see, oh crap, I just actually accomplished this. So you're gonna be like, oh crap, I'm gonna keep on going until I go ahead and reach the top.
Exactly, man. It's all about it's each individual step, and that what you just said there, man, is exactly what's the opposite to the paradigm that's given out with what we were saying earlier on about the distractions. Because we live in a culture, as you know, man, where everything's about don't put any work in, just look pretty, or you have your moment on, you know, like a talent show, and then it'll all come magically right for you. And like you said, man, that's what's really inspiring about what you just said. Because that's being real, man. That's being the real truth of life. Life is about steps and working and putting the graft in, man. And it will turn. Eventually, you will turn the wheel, man. I have no doubt that in 10, 15 years' time, man, you're going to be on a far higher plane than you are now if you keep up the same amount of intensity you got now. And I think that's the truth of life. I think that's the truth of anything, not with just music. I think it's true with anything. Like I said, just put your mind to it and just, you know, plow away, man. You know, just keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. But I think also, I think I would love to be your age in that sense. And I'm trying to look, you know, in difference of age wise, but man, I think where maybe people like yourself don't realize it. And this is what I try to, you know, to get across to people like yourself is, man, you're going to be the vanguard of a whole new generation. And I think where you're really fortunate to be where you are right now is you're the voice piece, and this is going to be this vanguard of a whole new wave, and it's going to coincide with a whole change in society. I mean, we are living in the greatest of times, man. Do you know what I mean? The difference between, like we were saying earlier on, between, you know, 20 years ago and now is that, and it's getting more and more and more as you know, I'll be telling you about what we're building, but the steps towards where the artist hasn't got to go through anything at all, and they can generate their own income and they can generate their own material without anybody stepping in, man. And this is the first time this has ever been allowed to humanity. And there you are in your 20s, right in the middle of that storm, and man, it's going to be maybe you don't realize it, man, but you're right now in the middle of a bubble. And 20 years ago, we saw people, you know, the whole hip hop scene just rise out of nowhere, and now these people are, you know, are multi-millionaires, man. The generation that's going on now with the rise of what's going on around them, man, you're going to blow these people away, man.
You there, man?
Yeah, did you catch that, my friend?
No, something happened with my camera.
No,
My bad, man.
I was just saying, man. I mean, I'll just summarize it. I mean, I think the difference where you're really fortunate is that you're the voice piece of a generation that, you know, right now in the times that we live in, these are the greatest of times, man. You've got the right now with the ability, what's coming with technology that 20 years ago, man, and we started this podcast when we were talking about NWA, man. At that time, the whole point of hip hop was to basically take the whole of music and take it back, wasn't it? And say, right, we don't need record companies, just take it all back. And it had a sort of certain success, and we know about those people. But where you are, man, this is why I try to focus and tell people like yourself is right now you're in the middle of a bubble, and the technology bubble is around you, and how it's going to change the world in the next 10 years. The people that are like yourself, man, you're going to be the voice piece of this, and you're going to be known. I think you're going to be known through years and hundreds of years' time. I almost think that in 2,000 years' time, they're going to look back at certain people like yourself and go, wow, they were the leading lights of that generation, man. They were and they're going to look back to your words and say, this is what was really meant at the time. That's where you're really fortunate, man. I don't know if you realize how much you were, because you were in the middle of it, how much of a bubble it is, because you are living in the greatest of times, man. And man, NWA would have loved to have the power of what they got, what the technology is about to come around the door, where you can,
That's
get paid.
true.
That's
Yeah,
the world. Yeah,
they're getting paid for views on YouTube now.
Exactly, man, and that's what I'm saying. This is why I think where we are right now, we're in the. If you go back about 120 years ago, and if you use the analogy of like stagecoaches, and right now we're in the times that we're starting to see the few sort of engines appear on trains, and people are like, oh, okay, great, and right now the very first car's being built. And that car's going to change everything, man. And like you say, right now, the YouTube one is a bit like the old horse and carriage. It's like, oh, well done, YouTube. You give a little bit of pennies towards the artist for putting all the, for making your view count ridiculous. But man, 5 years down the line, 2 years down the line, very, very, very soon, because what we're building, man, 99%. I mean, the idea now of a company saying, right, well, we'll give 99% of our profits away to the person who puts the content up. That's why I get told all the time. That's why I get laughed out of business meetings, my friend. It's like, yeah, that's never going to work. And I'm like, yeah, in the old world, it wouldn't have done. But in the new world, that's the only way it's going to work. You have to give the people who
That's true.
produce it as much as possible. There can't be any more of this middleman crap. You can't have any more of the, I'll take 20%, I'll take 50%, I'll take that
Hey,
world's
that's
over.
true. Yeah, that is over. You're right. It's a new wave. Technology changes everything. I'm telling you, man.
And that's the same thing, man. That's what I'm trying to say. This is what I'm trying to say. Maybe you don't realize you're in the bubble, but where hip hop was back in the day, got it really spot on, was that they understood technology and they shaped it, and they were the first on it, and they were the one, and they basically changed everything by doing that. And it's exactly where it is now. And I think the wake up where I try to to tell as many people, particularly yourself like that, who really inspire me by what you're doing, is say, man, you can shape the new future. You've got the ability right now. You've got that you've seen the car for the first time. No, this car isn't owned by corporations. This car is right now owned by the people who know about it. And that's what's the power. Imagine the power you've got in your hands, man. You can just. That's what I'm saying. You're going to change the world, my friend. And that's why I think so. That's why I maybe ask some of these deep questions, because I think that I'm inspired by the fact that the world is going to be, the whole generation is going to be, the people who are going to be ahead of it, and the voice piece of it is going to be yourself and people like that. And that's what really inspires me as a person who's, a bit older in the tooth about it. It's like, great. I'm really inspired there's people like you coming through, because I think if you can, that's why I say to people, man, do as much research as you can about this stuff, and the new technology that's coming, because, man, you're going to change the world. And maybe you don't realize it, but people like yourselves, man, you are changing the world right now, and you're definitely going to be changing the world in 5 years' time.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, man, it's that's what I say. It's
What you
just.
saying, man?
No, I was just saying it's having the. So you were mentioning about, like you were saying, you got some sort of shows coming up. I mean, what do you do about playing gigs? Is it quite hard to play gigs in Texas and stuff at the moment, or is it just to sort of like spread further abroad, outside of Texas?
No, it's outside of Texas. I have shows in Florida. We could actually do a show in Toronto, Dallas. I have shows in Dallas. That's my city. But basically, and it's just like we don't even have an agency right now. I'm not trying to like go through any booking agency. I don't want to be managed right now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any type of managers. Everybody always asks, bro, who manages you? Do you have a manager? Like, people always think they have to talk to my manager before they talk to me. Like, no, we're a rebellious society. We don't have any managers. Honestly, we could be a fucking record label. Like, we could hire some artists. Like,
exactly,
we're
man.
original. You know what I'm saying? We're original, so we can start our own thing right now, because we're actually moving up. Like, I already have a fan base, everything. So, yeah, man.
Man, do you know what I mean? You should do a podcast, man. Rebellious Society should be doing a podcast because I just think, you know what I mean? If I can do this stuff, you could do it, man. I would, you know, be great. You know what I mean? If you, like I said, because you've got an audience there. And this is what I'm saying. Get your message out to as many people as possible. I'd love to see the. Oh, I'd love to. I'll definitely tune in once a week to watch the podcast of you guys, man. You should think about it.
So how many people go live on this podcast?
Oh, what? But this is the 64th edition of this stuff, man. You know what I mean? And I just started this, man, like I said, the reason I started this podcast was just basically to get. I've always kind of known in my life, man, and I think you're living proof of it, and you'll know this as well as I do, man. You get like-minded people together, man, great things happen. And this is all I'm trying to do. So I'm just trying to spread the word about the new technologies that come in. Like you say, I told you a bit, you know, offline, and we talked about what I'm building with N99. It's not really about what I'm trying to do or we're trying to build or anything. It's more just getting, man, let's get us all together because we've got this ability, man. And this is the difference. 10 years ago, this shit was never possible, man. I couldn't have been sitting talking to someone in Dallas, man.
That's true.
And this is
true.
And this is how we build things, man. It's the old Wu-Tang one, man. It's like the bees swarming. You get networks and you connect networks to networks, and everybody in there is in there to help each other. And then when one of them blows up, man, they take everybody with them. And before you know it, we change. You know, we can change things, man. Like so, we're not going to change that either in the world overnight, man. But we can chip away.
It'll take time.
We can chip away at it, man.
Exactly.
So man, I kind of like I'm fascinated with what you do. I mean, you would, especially when you're talking about saying no more and stuff like that. Your process of writing songs, is that something you do by yourself, and then you'll come together and you'll put a beat over it, or do you collaborate? You know, write together or you know what I mean? How does that happen with what you do?
Basically, we get in the studio. Our producer sends us beats. We write to them. We talk about it on the phone. We get together, get in the studio, and make masterpieces, man.
So what you're
magic.
So you're that's what I'm saying. So you're basically, after you've got the beat, you won't actually write the lyrics or do you just freestyle it when you're there over the beat? You don't write it down beforehand and try to shape it beforehand.
We have to listen to the beat first because the beat gives you a type of vibe of what the song's gonna be about anyway. Like I could play any beat. I freestyle a lot. I could play any beat and I could like basically pick out a name for the beat right there. Boom. Oh yeah, this is that type of beat. Just start rapping on it and you already know what to rap about because the type of beat it's on. Like fast tempo, you can probably rap about some wild shit. Slow tempo, rap about some like slow shit, just chilling and vibing shit. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, man.
So most of your stuff will be literally freestyling. You won't write anything down and kind of like form it up and go back to it and use lyrics from. No, you're just always just in the moment.
It's not like freestyled. Like I'll write to it. I'll get the beat and then I'll write to it. I'll rehearse it because I don't like bringing a pen and pad in the studio. So or a phone. I don't like looking at anything. I just like to have it all memorized. So like I'll write it. And then basically I'll study it and then I'll go to the studio and I'll record it. And that's how it comes out way better that way. Just not looking at your phone just like this, rapping it with the mic and looking at your phone gets difficult.
Is there any kind of like almost, I don't use the wrong word, but is it almost like really rituals you'll go beforehand? I mean, do you go off and, you know, go do you have a few beers, do you have a smoke? I mean, what do you get yourself to get yourself in that state of mind, man? I mean, because I mention this as a creative person because when I'm, like I said to you before, I love to create while I'm listening to music, and I get myself into a mind state, and then I'm almost, like I say, it flows through me a lot easier. That's just my experience. I was wondering if it's the same for you.
Nah, honestly, yeah, I made that Black Hippie song that you listen to.
Mm-hmm.
I made that when I was lifted. So, I mean, it's a smoking song. So, you know, I was pretty up there. But, yeah, bro, everybody liked that shit, too. I mean, and whenever you're under the influence, like people can vibe with you because they're doing the same thing as you, or they're gonna be doing the same thing. And then when they're doing the same thing as you were doing, when you made the song, they're gonna listen to it. You know?
Yeah, man, and I think that's one of the, like I say, so that's why it's seen as a really creative aid for creative people, because what people don't understand is when this is one of the insights about, as you know, being creative, whether it's in the arts, music, or whatever it is, but it's tapping into that creative process, isn't it? Which, you know what I mean? Anything that helps that process, anything that makes you more relaxed, and let it all flow outside of you, man. And I don't know if it's the same as you. I've had times when because I do a lot of writing as well. And there are times when I'll get in there and I'll just write and write and write, and then I'll look back and think, wow, where did all that come from, man? It just seems
Yeah.
to flow out. Is that a common experience you have as well?
Yeah, like sometimes you'd be like, dang, how did I say that? Like you'll just start rapping and be like, whoa, where'd that come from? But yeah, that happens to me all the time. It's just like bursts out of nowhere. Like you just get like sometimes it seems like it was just meant to be on that song, you know? Like damn, hell yeah, this song was meant to be. Like if it just flows out like that and you know it sounds good on the beat, you'd be like, hell yeah, this shit was meant. This shit about to be a hit.
So, man, I mean, it's one of the things I kind of, you know, someone who's obviously going out there and spitting lyrics all the time like this. And I've been to enough shows in my life, man, and I've always wondered this. Like, so when you're up on the stage and you're out there and you're doing a particular track like that, man. I mean, do you ever stick like literally word for word, or do you like when you're up there playing on a live show, think, oh, whatever, I'll just whatever comes out. It doesn't be word for word. I mean, does
Nah,
that?
I'll go word for word on it. And yeah, shit. Sometimes I just let the crowd sing it, or just get hyped. Like I'll just hop off the mic because the crowd's cool. Like I have a great stage. Like I think I have a pretty good stage presence because when I'm on the stage, like the crowd's wild. Everybody's just going crazy. They love to see me on the stage. So sometimes I'll just stop rapping and just like shake my head, just vibe out with everybody.
So, man, so I mean, on that kind of like, you know, that what you just mentioned then. I mean, what's been the worst and the best experience about playing live, man?
Shit, stage fright, worst. The first time I did a show, it was like a bunch of people, and I kind of got stage fright. I was like, whoa. But then after you do your first show, it's over. You don't have any more stage fright unless you see the only bad thing that could come. I've had this before. I did a song. And I had to memorize it like 2 days before the show. That's pretty nerve. And then you'll be rapping the song all the way until you get on stage. Like I was in the back. You know how they have the back room, the backstage, the
Mm-hmm.
backstage room. Yeah, I was in that room just practicing, man. Models walking in and out. I'm just rapping all the way up until the show. And then I had my phone in my hand whenever I was walking out on stage. Well, not on stage, but I was walking like up the stairs towards the stage from the back room. And like as soon as I like got close enough to the stage, I put my phone in my pocket and just started rapping it. So it came out. I memorized it right on time. That was probably like the most nervous part. That's probably that's the most nervous I've been on stage ever. But for the most part, I'm live on stage. Like I don't really have a lot of problems on stage because the crowd will get you very comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll put you in your element, and you just have to be live. You have to be confident, man. I have to go in like 2 minutes.
No, that's cool, man. No, that's cool. Well, look, I mean, man, well, it's we kind of it's almost like you left people on the tender hooks there, man. Because we have to carry this point at some other point, man. Well, look, before you go, man,
Yeah, we definitely have to talk again.
Yes, definitely, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we'll make this. This definitely another podcast. I mean, and again, I said to you this offline, but man, I love anything for anything you need with Rebellious Society. And the crew want to come on, man, and we'll do this, or all of you together. That'd be a good show. But definitely, we have to get you back on, man. And like I said to you before, everyone, we're gonna. I asked you this, man. We're gonna finish this podcast with Black Kippy. So before we go, man, just a couple of things. Where can people find it? Where can people find you on social media? How do they reach out to you, man?
Find me on Twitter at Rebel TreHeem. It's REBELTRE, capital HEEM. That's on Twitter. Instagram, the same thing. If y'all want to find my songs, just go on my website. It's rebelliousoceity.com. Websites are also in the Twitter link, so y'all can find me through there too.
And like I said, man, we're definitely going to get you back on the podcast again, because I think this is we've only scratched on the surface. And like I say, we're going to finish on Black Hippie. So, mate, just tell me your thoughts about Black Hippie, and just a really quick one before you go as well. Kind of like, no, we'll just leave it at that. We'll carry on that next time. Just tell me about Black Hippie, why you chose it. Then we'll finish out on that, and we'll go out on that, man.
Somebody just called me. Can you ask that question one more time? I had to ignore the call.
No, I was just gonna say, man, we're gonna finish on Black Hippie. So just tell me why you chose that song to finish on.
Black Hippie. I chose that song to finish on, honestly, because that song is like what we do over here. So I want everybody online to see what we do over here. Like we chill, we vibe, we smoke, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But we're also positive people who like to change the world. But honestly, I don't think I'll get into a whole nother subject about weed, because I don't think weed's bad at all. But let's just not even get on that. But I want, because that'll be another whole 5 hours.
That's another podcast, my man.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, man. I like to finish with Black Hippie because I feel like everybody can vibe and relate to Black Hippie, especially all the Black people.
Well, that's cool, man. It's been, like I say, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me the amount of time you are tonight, man, because I know it's been a bit of a stressful, hectic day for you, man. So cheers for coming along, that, man. Like I say, we're going to go out with Black Hippie by the excellent Rebel TreHeem, man. And well, for me in Scotland and all the way from Dallas tonight, man, it's good night from me in Scotland. And life is people. And life is Black Hippie, man.
Black hippie nigga, fuck the world, I pollute. Lighten them up, then I pass them to you. My job is sick, you a passenger do. Young nigga pulling strings like I'm tying up a shoe. Ain't worried about you, nigga, do what you do. Got the bone milky, I'm smoking two blunt between a piece, I'm feeling radical, dude. CG 18, but that ass 32. Roses to red, violets to blue. I'm hot in a bitch, nigga, what about you? Good bottles and booze, chop below screwed. I'm smoking so much like I got something to prove. Bitches acting brand new, nigga, changing on you. I didn't see it before, think I got deja vu. Switching it up, got you niggas confused. Black mask creeping on the fuck nigga like you, man. I got the key, you're looking for the answers. Eyes red like a bandana. Met a bad bitch named Anna. She Mexican, I booted back like Santa. She hit me up, but I didn't want to answer. I told that bitch I hit her back piano. Man, my floater shit to beat a pepper. Y'all make me make you out of an example. I'm a black hippie nigga, fuck the world, I pollute. Lighten them up, then I pass them to you. My job is sick, you a passenger do. Young nigga pulling strings like I'm tying up a shoe. I'm a black hippie nigga, fuck the world, I pollute. Lighten them up, then I pass it to you. My drop sick, you just a passenger do. Young nigga pulling strings like I'm tying up a shoe. Black hippie, black lips. The trees got me hazy, but I see she's swaying in black hips, and I'm praying for told her, don't nigga lick the blunt. Just do it like she's sucking right on the tip. And it's blunts and blunts and blunts and blunts and blunts. Shots and shots on the cups, on cups, on cups. Just puffing, puffing fast, can't miss my round. What's it with the blunt? I'm shutting this shit down. Shots and crown, got my niggas in here loose. Faded as fuck, so you know we got the juice. Still got a pound to smoke the ounce already. My excuses, I smoke this weed straight from fetid. Whoa, whoa, this weed, my nigga, what is this? Man, I can't even see my nigga, can't breathe my nigga. Oh yeah, I'm a black kid, man. Fuck the world, put him up and you right here with me. Light up that shit and pass it to you and you and you and you and you and you. I'm way too high to fly like story of my crew. Man, straight up in the back, smoking in the school. Money, pussy, weed, you know the simple rule, man. Stay chain smoking till we fucking drooling. They loving the crew, cause that's how we fucking do. We'll fucking move and go deep, man, motherfucking drool. Eyes rolling back, still smoking strong. Still smoking on, smoking till smoke. Check over my lungs, whether it's legal or it's not, nigga. Smoke right in front of the cops, nigga. Smoke more than a shit. I'm a black hippie, nigga. Fuck the world, I pollute. Lighting them up, then I pass it to you. My drive too sick, you a passenger, dude. Young nigga pulling strings like I'm tying up a shoe on. Smoking these trees, rolling and smoking and blowing these trees. I'm smoking these trees, rolling and smoking and blowing these trees.
I'm